afternoon everyone. I am Rialyn Makailing Larios. My report is all about Chapter 6, Lesson 1, Virtue Ethics of Aristotle. So, this is the continuation of the report of Mr. Aranyo as earlier. Virtue as habit. Aristotle explicates about the acquisition of character excellence by habituation or etesmos. So, according to Aristotle, he explained that we can obtain the character excellence through the process of habituation. The two important terms of character excellence and habit that we need to be considered. First, character. Character means the development of personality that resulted in application of virtues. So, ito yung pag-uugali ng tao or yung ugali natin na kung saan mas din-develop pa natin upang mas mapapabuti natin ang ating sarili. So, yung character ay merong dalawang ori. Ito yung bad at saka when you say good, ito yung nakakabuti sa atin. At when you say bad, ito yung nakakasama sa ating sarili. Second, habit. Habit means the certain human acts are being carried out frequently. It only means that when a person carries a certain act only once, it is just a plain act and not a habitual act. So, ibig sabihin ng habit ay, ito yung palagi natin ginagawa or yung araw-araw natin ginagawa. Pero, pag ang isang bagay ay iisa lang natin gawin, hindi ito tinatawag na habit. Halimbawa nito ay yung pagdidilig ng halaman. So, yung pagdidilig ng halaman, pag araw-araw natin itong ginagawa, ay tinatawag itong habit. Pero, pag yung pagdidilig ng halaman, ay minsan lamang natin ito gawin, hindi ito tinatawag na habit. It's just a plain act only. The two kinds of virtues. First, moral virtue, and second, intellectual virtue. Moral virtue. Virtue is moral excellence. A virtue is a trait or quality that is deemed to be morally good and thus is valued as a foundation of principle and good moral being. In other words, it is a behavior that shows high moral standard, doing what is right and avoiding what is wrong. So, yung moral virtue, ito yung paggawa ng mabuti at pag-iwas sa masama. Intellectual virtues. The role of intellectual virtue is to complement moral virtue. The two classification under the intellectual virtue. First, intellectual virtue of wisdom. So, it is a role of governing ethical behavior. So, it helps us what particular virtue among moral virtues we need to apply under circumstances. So, ito yung tumutulong sa atin upang gabayan tayo sa ating mga problema. Halimbawa nito ay yung gusto mo makapagtapos ng pag-aaral pero mahirap lamang kayo at gusto na ng mga magulang mo ay maghinto ka dahil wala na silang pangtustos sa iyong pag-aaral. So, ang dapat mong gawin upang masolusyonan ang problema ngayon ay mag-working student ka na lang upang ang gastos ng mga magulang mo ay hindi masyadong malaki. Second, intellectual virtue of understanding. Understanding is the beautiful virtue to cultivate. It brings our mind into a state of focus and attunement. When difference and conflict arises, understanding helps us show compassion. So, yung understanding, ito rin yung pinakamalagang virtue of intellectual dahil ito yung tumutulong sa atin upang intindi natin yung mga problema na tinatamasa natin. Halimbawa nito ay yung hirap na hirap ka na sa iyong pag-aaral dahil kulang kayo sa gadget. Pero nananatili ka pa rin matatag dahil alam mong ang paghihinto sa pag-aaral ay hindi nakakabuti. So, iniintindi mo yung sarili mo, pati na rin yung mga magulang mo. Moderation. Moderation is a moral virtue of Aristotle. Entails that the one has to avoid what is excess or defect in action. Aristotle suggests that the moral virtues are in the middle between too much and too little. When we say moderation, ito yung katamtaman, level lamang or sapat lamang. Dapat hindi siya sobra or hindi rin siya kulang. Moderation, it is also called the doctrine of the mean. Here are the excess and the defects of the following virtues according to Armstrong 33 to 34. Virtues. First, even temper or being calm. So the excess or too much o being temper is irascibility or being easy to get angry or irritability. So, parang madali kang magalit or madali kang mairita sa mga bagay-bagay. So, na-defect or too little. So, it can cause impassivity or being less of emotion. Parang baliwala mo lang yung mga problema, yung mga nangyayari sa mga paligid. Second, bravery or yung pagiging matapang. So, the excess or too much is foolhardiness or yung pagiging mayabang or parang hindi mo pa decision na ng maayos, ginagawa mo na. So, defect or too little is cowardice. So, or being fearness, yung, or parang yung natatakot ka. Parang natatakot kang gawin, natatakot ka sa mga bagay-bagay na maaring mangyayari. Third is modesty. Modesty, ito yung pagiging arrogante, or kumbaga kapag magsuot ka yung tama, yung maganda sa ibang tao, or maganda yung suot mo para sa lahat. So, excess or too much, shameless, or di kaya-aya sa ibang tao, or parang sobra-sobra na yung suot mo. The defect or too little, it can cause touchiness, or yung pagiging mahiyain, or mahiya ka sa suot mo, or magiging sensitive ka sa mga suot mo. Next is temperance, or pagiging katamtaman, or moderation, or moderate. So, the excess or too much, it can cause intemperance, or yung parang sobra-sobra. Parang di mo mapigilan yung mga ginagawa mo at yung mga iniisip mo. So, defect or too little, it can cause insensibility, or yung pagiging lack of emotion or lack of awareness. Next is fair-mindedness, or being equal, or equal to treat everyone. So, yung pagiging pantay-pantay sa pagtrato sa ibang tao. So, the excess or too much, it can cause envy, or being zealous. So, nasizealous ka sa ibang tao. The defect or too little, it can cause nameless, or yung pagiging less of emotion, or binabaliwala mo lang sila. Next is justice. Justice, ito yung pagkuha ng hustisya, or yung kabutihan ng hustisya. So, kapag magiging excess or too much, so it can cause gain, or yung parang nagmamadali kang makuha yung hustisya at gusto mong makamit mo na kaagad-agad. So, the defect or too much little, or it can cause disadvantage, or parang naghihinayang ka, or parang nawalan ka ng pag-asa dahil alam mong parang di mo na makukuha yung hustisya. Next is liberty. So, liberty, it is the giving proper accusation, or yung pagbibigay ng pantay-pantay. So, excess or too much, it can cause prodigality, or being overspending or overgiving. So, defect or too little, so it can cause meanness. So, or yung very little, or yung pagbibigay mo ay maliit lamang. Next is truthfulness, or yung pagiging makatotoo, or yung pagsabi ng totoo. So, the excess or too much, it can cause boastfulness, or yung pagiging mayabang, or yung pagsabi ng sobra-sobra, or di naman makatotohanan. The defect or little, it can cause mock modesty, or yung natatakot kang sabihin kung ano yung makatotohanan dahil iniisip mo kung ano ang iyong reputasyon. Next is friendliness, or yung pagiging palakaibigan sa ibang tao, or pakikipaghalubilo sa ibang tao. So, kapag magiging excess or too much, it can cause flattery, or yung pagiging papansin sa ibang tao, parang ganun, papansin sa ibang tao, at pagiging mayabang sa ibang tao. So, the defect or too much little, it can cause childlessness, or yung pagiging mahiyain. You have the ability of being graciousness. Next is dignity. So, dignity means it is the state or the quality of being worthy of honor or respect. So, excess or too much, it can cause servility, or being excess willingness to serve or please others. defect or too little, so it can cause disdain. So it is the feeling of someone or something that is unworthy to respect. Next is pride. So pride, you're proud of what you have achieved. So the excess or too little, it can cause vanity. Vanity, it is an excessive pride in one's appearance and achievements. So defect and too little, it can cause men's spirit, or it is also known as factually accurate. The last virtue is magnificence. So, magnificent, it is the virtue of spending large sums of money in order to bring grand things into the world. So, excess or too much is ostentation, or you are attracting someone to impress yourselves. So, parang magawa ka ng paraan para ma-impress yung sarili mo. Fake or too little, so unworthiness. So, unworthiness, ito yung kung ano lang yung kakayahan mo, yun lang yung dinidevelop mo. Di mo na ina-assume na makuha pa yung mga bagay na nahihirapan ka. Exercise of moral virtue differ from one person to another. So, we are going to achieve the right amount of virtue if we avoid excess and defect. So, sinasabi na makukuha natin yung moral virtue kapag maiiwasan natin yung excess at saka ang defect, or yung pagiging sobra at pagiging kulang. Happiness as virtue. Till or end of our human action, which are what we desire until for is good. So, according to Aristotle, all human acts that we undertake must have to have ultimate telos or end. So, according to Aristotle, ang lahat ng mga ginagawa natin ay mayroong katapusan or hangganan. So, which is, yung katapusan na yun ay nangan natin yung kabutihan. He is referring happiness in the Greek eudaimonia as supreme good. According to Aristotle, he is referring happiness as a supreme good because he believed that happiness can bring us a pleasure and hide all of our problems. That's all. Thank you
for watching. A like would be appreciated. Subscribe.